everyone see that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Carrie, do you think we're about ready to get started?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Yep, thank you, everyone, for coming. It's not going to the next slide.
Here we go.
There we go. Welcome to our November PTA meeting. Thank you all so much for coming. Tonight we just have some PTA updates and a few things to go over for everybody. Reminder that this is being recorded, microphones muted please, and a respectful conversation in the chat. Okay. Tonight we will discuss our PTA updates, volunteer opportunities that we have. Our West Town administration, Ms. Pacino, Mr. Schultz are here for question and answer a little bit later, and resources and support. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and I'm going to hand it over to Leia, I believe.
Oh, we are?
Isn't it?
I don't know.
I swear it was.
Yes. Lots of things going on, considering that kids are all home with us. So there's still opportunities to fund the PTA with the Charleston Wrap fundraiser that's going on, which is very exciting. I know I sent it out to some people who came back and said, can we just give you money instead? And I said, absolutely. So there's lots of ways to fund the PTA with our Go Fund the PTA, $10 a month, which is all on our website. We also have some other upcoming events. Restaurant night is that's next Thursday, followed by Funding Friday. This is our first one of the year, right, Olga? Our first Funding Friday?
Yep, first one of the year.
First Funding Friday in honor of American Education Week. We're asking that students write a note of thanks or draw a picture for one of your teachers or any of the Westtown faculty. There's a local Board of Education listening session that we were working on, having an opportunity for us to talk to our local Baltimore County Board of Ed. And then we're also going to have a learning session on talking to our kids about race and ethnicity and inclusion. And then we will be selling spirit wear again, and I think the link has some of the spirit wear that is up for sale. And I think there's some new stuff that's also coming. And then we have some more, there's always volunteer opportunities. We love our volunteers and anybody who would like to join the PTA in any way. We have, we still need volunteers for the book fair. Any fifth grade parents who would like to be part of the fifth grade committee. We still are interested in volunteers who would like to participate on the diversity, inclusion, and equity committee. Is there anything I missed there? Marie or Olga or Carrie?
No. For membership, I will say that we have 109 members, including 36 faculty. So last year we only had 31 faculty, so that's an improvement from last year.
Awesome.
We did have 167 members last year, so we're going to try to come up with ways to build our membership up again. But of course it is virtual this year, so that could be a little difficult.
And I think if I remember correctly, Olga, that puts us over our estimate at the beginning of the year, right?
Yes.
So even though it's lower than last year, still doing pretty good.
Oh, so there's a question about how you get involved in the Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Committee. It's a great question. If you're interested in any of the volunteer opportunities, or if you even just have a question for the PTA, you can email us at westtownpta@gmail.com. It's that email that's up on the screen.
Yep, and with the diversity, with any committee meeting or committee, when we send out meeting invites, we will make sure that if you've let us know that you want to be a part of it, we will include you on those meetings.
All right.
All right. Lastly, and I think I'll have a letter coming your way, Ms. Massey and Ms. Pacino and Mr. Schultz, but definitely still looking for fifth grade parents to help out with fifth grade committee in this interesting year. So we'll be sending out a letter that hopefully can get to the fifth grade teachers and students, parents very soon.
Is this me too?
Yes.
So the school sent out a notice today, this evening, and we've also posted it to the PTA Facebook group. But the school is collecting donations, particularly for some families that were displaced by a fire in the apartment buildings across the street from Westtown. So they are asking for Thanksgiving baskets and clothing, and the email or the message that went out this evening, had specific donations for each grade level. So please take a look at that. Donations are being accepted starting next week, through the week during school hours. Right?
Yeah, it's 9 to 3 next week, and we have bins set up in the front lobby area.
And we actually are starting this week.
Oh, great.
Oh, is it this week?
We've actually already started, yes.
So you're taking them through the end of next week, right?
Oh, yes. Through the 20th, yes.
Great. And if anybody has any questions, ask Megan Massey, who is on the line with us. Megan, do you have anything to add about the donations? Is there anything in particular?
So far we've received some canned goods. We've got two $50 gift certificates to JCPenney's.
Oh, wow.
We've got, for the Thanksgiving baskets, like 60 bags of stuffing.
Oh, wow.
And, it's just and some kitchen items for the displaced families. So hopefully, we continue to grow our table and, get some more stuff out there. I've messaged Catonsville Chamber of Commerce, Lidl's, and Safeway to see if they can give us any donations also.
Very nice.
That's wonderful.
Oh, and 818, even though they have not opened yet. I've messaged them too.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan.
That's great.
Is this me too?
No, this is Olga. So BCPS does have a reopening plan with the health component. The link is there. Governor Hogan just put out new guidance today. So I'm sure BCPS will be adjusting their reopening plan based on that. Report cards are coming soon. The marking period ends Friday. What is it the 13th?
Yep, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh, gosh. Friday the 13th, the marking period ends. There is, here in the links, you will find, and we'll post this on our website, but there are links for Schoology on how to check your students' reports. Marie, if you don't mind, I'm actually going to start sharing.
Oh, yeah. Here, so I'll stop, right?
Yeah.
Stop presenting.
And then I'm going to present. Let me know if you all see this. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Hoping?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's two ways to do this. If your child will log into BCPS One for you, that's great. I actually know my daughter's login information by heart, but either way, you should have a parent account. So I'm logging into my parent account. And then if you go into Schoology Learning, As a parent, I don't have any courses except for school counseling. So I will go over to the right and click on the down arrow next to my name and click on my daughter's name. She's going to be upset that I'm showing her grades, but she'll be okay. And then if I go, there should be a grades report. Oh, grade report? Is this it? Sorry. So you can look, these are all the classes that she's currently in. There is a download student report, but we're not going to go to that. So I'll just go to language arts, and you'll see that there's a few items that are outstanding. Sometimes those are just ones that the teacher doesn't necessarily grade, but they still want them to open it. This one is an exit ticket, so I know she has to do that one. But this is a good way to see what your kids' grades are as of right now. So you can see art. Again, these are, so that's the way that you check their grades. If you have any questions about things that are outstanding, I'm actually going to stop sharing now. Does anybody have any questions on this part?
Olga?
Yes.
I just wanted to point out that you will get a hexagon an orange hexagon where there's missing assignments.
Okay, let's see. All right, then maybe she doesn't have any. Okay.
Good for you. I can't say that all.
Sorry.
The rest of the children.
Yeah, maybe I should share my screen.
The teacher might have to mark them as missing for that to show up as well.
I think that is the case. But anyways, so I can't see the this is what I see right now. So are there any questions in the chat?
No.
Okay.
No.
All
There's
right.
a thank you from Miss Singer.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great.
All right. Hopefully you guys can ask. Okay. So back to you, Marie. If you can present
Okay.
again.
Before we
Oh, yeah.
leave that one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just I think I saw in passing that there is a Board of Education tonight, a meeting going on tonight with Baltimore County, and I think they did release today a draft reopening plan specifically for K through 2. So I have not actually taken a look at that, but we'll track that down and send it out for our channels. I'm sure there's much more to come on that. So I can't even. Ms. Pacino, Mr. Schultz, I don't even know if you've seen anything else on that. I just did see that they released something.
No, unfortunately, we find out with everyone else.
Yeah. we wish we had the ability to get this information ahead of time, but just like Mr. Schultz said, we often find out either when Governor Hogan starts speaking, or it makes the news, or we get an email. So you may be the one sharing it with us, Marie.
I hope that's not the case. Let me present again, and I think next up, Olga, is the treasurer's. Just a quick update.
All right, just a quick update for the treasurer's report for box tops. As of I think since July 2020, we have gotten $41 in box tops. On our website, there is instructions on how to turn in or how to mail in the box tops if you still are cutting them out. So those can still be mailed in. For Amazon Smile, it's $911 since August 2020. So that's really good, I think. Again, that's both from their websites, though, so we haven't received a check for those yet. We did have restaurant night last month. We briefly discussed it. I think the check was for a little over $360, so that piece of pizza restaurant night was great. And then for Charleston Wrap, as of today, we have raised $562. We still have another 3 weeks left of Charleston Wrap. The link is, I believe, on our Facebook page, and it will be on our website later tonight. As far as donations, you can always donate to the PTA through the website. There is a PayPal link, and I'm not sure how many donations we have for that yet because I haven't done the PayPal transfer for that. But we can, we do definitely appreciate all donations. And of course, Funding Friday is coming up, so we'll appreciate donations for that as well. Not mandatory, but appreciated.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that a little bit, Olga, you know, I think if folks were with us for our first meeting and budget review, it's a pretty spare year, just because the normal fundraising events we have, we can't do. So these things like restaurant nights, Charlestown Wrap, the rewards programs and donations are really helpful, and they help us do more to help out the school and the community. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. And we're also looking at other fundraisers that may not necessarily be selling items, maybe donations, things like that.
Yep, so stay tuned for more.
Marie, before you get too far, the BCPS updates had some information about the equity committee from BCPS.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh gosh, yeah, thank you.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, just to go back to that a bit, and anyone who knows more should comment. BCPS is taking a hard look at equity in the school system overall as well, and so there's a couple of documents that we have linked here, and we'll make sure are on the website as well. There's a data brief, as well as a follow-up report on equity in special education. And I think there's a committee that's been organized by the board meeting, again, looking at equity issues countywide. So we'll be sure to get more information on that as well out to everyone. I don't know if anyone else who's familiar with that effort wants to add anything. Okay. Thanks, Liam. Okay. So I think Ms. McKnight's on the phone, who's our wonderful PTA teacher official representative. I know that she shared a few bits of feedback from teachers, and so definitely welcome you to expound upon these, Ms. McKnight. But I think first of all, you know, from our teachers, there was a thank you, parents, for all you do for your support. So thanks, everybody. There was a couple of pieces of feedback about background pictures. I think some students are using background pictures in their Google Meets, and it sounds like there was some feedback from teachers that this can make learning difficult or distracting. Like you can't always see a whiteboard when you have a background picture up, for example, but they also might be taking up bandwidth. So I don't know if Ms. McKnight or other teachers on the phone, if you've had this issue and want to share anything about that.
Hey, it's Miss McKnight.
Hey.
Hi. So yeah, for me, I mean, the main issue is that I can't see the students. So if there are activities where I want them to hold something up or show me something, or it makes it really hard. Sometimes it blurs out their entire body. Makes it very difficult to see and for me to engage with them. So I discourage them from using them in class. I don't know about all the other teachers, but for me personally, it's difficult. I don't like them.
Gotcha.
This is Miss Thorough. I'll speak for second grade also. I'm absolutely fine with it as long as the students. I notice when they change it a lot, it can cause things to glitch in Google Meets. So oftentimes if they do have it on, I'll say that's what you have on for the class time, but I don't want to see it changing, because then if I'm presenting something, then other students are saying, it's glitching, and that causes problems with that. So yeah, definitely agree with Ms. McKnight on that as well.
Gotcha. Thank you. So the next bit of feedback, and I think that was Olga had just walked through how, as a parent, you can check in on a grade report through Schoology. But there's definitely a bit of feedback, and especially this week, it's so important this first quarter. I think the first thing was, parents should try out and make sure how to make sure that your students have completed the assignments that have been assigned to them. But I think there was also a recommendation that came through Ms. McKnight. Some of those kids, particularly in the younger grades, might not be as adept at sort of switching through or accessing things through Schoology, and so I think I think the request is to maybe work with those younger kids to make sure that they become a bit more adept in using it. Am I capturing that, Ms. McKnight?
So I think that came from one of the specials teachers.
Gotcha.
So I can't speak to it too much. I'm not personally having the issue with the students like having trouble logging on or anything like that. I do notice that not everybody is completing the Schoology work, but I think the logging on part of it and is more of an issue with the specialists. Maybe I wish I could speak to that more, but I'm not completely sure.
Gotcha.
I think there's also a recommendation or kind of like a question, and I think we discussed this last meeting as well, if teachers can send out outstanding work, whether it's at the end of the week or at the end of the month, something like that, because I know, especially like the younger grades, like K, first, second grade, they may not know how to check Schoology for their grades or outstanding work. And it may just help if the teachers send something to the parents to make sure that work gets completed. Again, we're not in school every day, or the kids aren't in school every day for their teacher to say, this should have been done yesterday. So a note to parents, something like that, especially since grades are, the quarter ends in a few days.
If I could just share a bit of information with you, one of the things that we're doing to assist parents, really it's good all around, is to have teachers posting only in Schoology the assignments that are going to be graded. So when parents look to see what work is missing, they'll know which assignments. And if it's just a practice assignment, it should be, we call it unpublished. So it won't appear on the missing assignments or on the assignments, the grades. So that should help a little bit, kind of clearing out a little bit of the clutter, because when I looked at some of the teacher Schoology pages as well, I was like, wow, that's a lot. So we're working on that on our end as well to help parents kind of navigate all of these assignments that are coming their way.
Thanks, Ms. Pitching.
Hi, this is Miss Singer. We also have been hopefully pushing out, because it was addressed to all of us in our faculty meeting, about providing weekly agendas so you know the assignments that the child has within the week. So that's another avenue to help kind of organize and keep track. And then also reaching out to the teacher is a great resource to find out also what you might be missing, because everyone could be missing different assignments. And speaking as a first grade teacher, that's a lot to go through and email every individual parent. So just kind of working together as a team would be a great way that we could make this happen.
Thanks, Ms. Singer. That's very helpful. Okay. Any other feedback on that? I know that's a hot topic, especially right now. The last thing, Ms. McKnight, and this is one I really know nothing about. So, and I think this may have come in from a specials teacher as well. But there was some feedback about Go Guardian maybe not working as effectively for special areas classes as it was for homeroom teachers.
So if you want me to speak to that a little bit, I think I can.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe was, I apologize, what I was referring to before. I think what they mean is that, so a lot of teachers can use GoGuardian to help like students open up tabs. They're having trouble doing that themselves. But I think with the specialists, they aren't able to do that as effectively. And so they're having trouble with the younger grades where the students aren't able to manipulate things as easily themselves on the technology. And so I guess I'm guessing that this teacher was just kind of reaching out and asking for help from parents to help their children become more proficient on the computer. I think that was kind of what she was asking, I believe.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Anything else on this, or anything, Ms. McKnight, or any other teachers that you wanted to share at this time?
I mean, I know all of us that are here just want to thank everyone that's working so hard to help their children. You know, I have my own kids too, and it's a lot to work a full day and then go through and make sure they've done everything and help them. And so just thank you. We appreciate everything that you're doing to help your children.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you for the update. I really appreciate it for bringing those things up. Okay. I'm gonna turn to the administration now. Ms. Pacino and Mr. Schultz, welcome. We're glad to have you. A couple of hot topics that did come in through questions. I think the first was really a question about what the school's doing to advance diversity, inclusion, and equity within the school. And I know that's an ongoing process, but wondering if you can talk to that. And then the second, I think, as we've been talking about, sort of big topic area was, just all the things going on at the end of first quarter, what folks can expect from grades and report cards and conferences.
Sure.
Sure.
So about diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is something we take really seriously, and we've built a program of PD for our teachers this year and sort of mapped it out throughout the year, and it's centered around a book study. The book is called We Got This, Equity, Access, and the Quest to Be Who Our Students Need Us to Be. And the book study meets monthly, and additionally, we've planned professional development discussions that build on what we learned from the book by including open and just really frank discussions about race. The next step for that, as far as we see it, is shifting from teachers talking about their own experience and growing together to creating an open space for students to talk about these issues that are all around them. Like we have this wonderfully diverse student body, and we need to make sure that we're able to delicately support those conversations with each other. The teachers are all on board. If anything, some might be a little nervous about parent reactions, those who might not feel the same way as I think most of us, maybe in this meeting, or most of our staff at least do. So we're working through that with them and assuring them that we'll have their back as an administration if these issues arrive, just because our students deserve a teacher who won't shy away from difficult conversations. So we're just making sure that, insofar as like where we are right now, we're just supporting them and giving them the tools they need to navigate these difficult conversations.
I'm not sure that I have the ability. If I have a PowerPoint up, it's on my desktop right now that we presented to staff in October. I believe it was the 21st. If I click present now, can I just take you through it very quickly?
Yeah, definitely, Ms. Pacino. I think the only maybe you have a cooler computer than I do. It just
let's see what happens.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to go with my entire screen, and Okay. Maybe I won't try that. Let me see. Present now. Anthony, this is where you come in.
Well, I can't see your screen.
Chrome tab. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold on. This might be. Do you see a PowerPoint?
Now we're talking.
It's coming up.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad I could
See,
help.
I don't need you in the end after all. Let's see. I don't know if I can actually run it through. Let's give it a whirl.
You can click slideshow.
I'm looking. Oh, there we go. Okay. From beginning. Okay.
There
So
we
we're really getting the Evelyn Wood speed reading version of this. Okay. So the county, BCPS throughout all of our schools are working on equity and diversity, and there's an initiative called Creating Space that we presented to our staff because we realize that before we can change the environment, we have to look within, and we need to be willing to recognize that there are issues that need to be resolved, be discussed. Many times we shy away from those difficult conversations. So prior to sharing with our students, we really want to take a look at ourselves. So we tried to prepare teachers and let them know that there are some strategies that they can use first with themselves, then with students to help persevere throughout these difficult conversations, and to recognize that not every student is going to respond, that there may be some anger, there may be some resistance, there may be some guilt, there may be, lots of different reactions, and that we need to be prepared for that moving forward. We talked about some of the, I actually shared with the staff some of the recommendations that the school psychologist or when we had that PTA meeting and we had a psychologist come and speak about reducing stress and so forth, I shared some of that information with the staff. But we also looked at just being ready and understanding that it's not like a sitcom where there's going to be resolution at the end of 30 minutes. I mean, these are conversations that will go on for an extended period, maybe for the rest of our lives, hopefully not. But, we understand that. And when it comes to feelings, things don't, and what we've learned growing up, that we won't always have a storybook ending. We won't be able to always wrap it up, with a bow at the end of a conversation. And that we need to be cognizant of the potential fallout from these conversations. Now, we are not in the building, so, we're not necessarily as concerned with any physical altercations, but I think all of us know at this point that just because you're on the other end of a computer doesn't protect you from cyberbullying and so forth. So we need to be cognizant of that as well. We talked about how you have that courageous conversation, and that what we need to do as a staff and also with our students is to agree on 4 major points, and that is we're going to stay engaged, that we recognize that we may experience discomfort, that we have to speak our truth. You speak your own truth, and that's, as a white woman, as a Black child, as a, where as a middle-aged, whatever it is, that you speak your truth because that is your reality, and to expect and accept that non-closure. So we did a little activity with the staff where we took these 4 truths and or 4 agreements, and we kind of fleshed them out a little bit more for the staff so they would understand what we mean. There's some phrases and terminology that they can borrow, and just to try to make it a little bit more concrete. And then we talked about the compass. I'm going to move us over here to identify where you are on the compass. And you can be in many places on the compass. I thought that this was a neat way of making associations about where you are on the compass as it relates to parts of your body. So the moral quadrant, beliefs that you grew up on, the beliefs that you hold, that's kind of like your soul. If you're in the emotional quadrant, you're talking about feelings that you're having, what comes up for you in a feeling sense, and that relates to the heart. We also talked about thinking. Sometimes some people need to go through the emotional piece of this before they can get to the thinking part. If you're my husband, you go straight to the thinking part. You don't even worry about emotions. So it's different for everyone. But the thinking part was the head or the mind, and then the action. We've learned, we recognize, we see a need for change. What are we going to do? Relates to the hands and the feet, kind of like, this is where you see activity. And then we tried to practice some of the prompts that can be used by actually asking staff, how does this make you feel? What's coming up for you? What are you thinking? This is the same phraseology that our teachers can use with our students, and eventually our students can use with each other. And then we ended with questions, and there were a lot of questions, everything from how do I respond to parents who don't want this to be discussed in the schoolhouse, to this is really something that has been on my mind for a long time. I'm so glad that you brought it up. What can I do next? And I think that's it. So I'm going to hopefully come back to where did I stop presenting?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So I just wanted to, I didn't do it justice. It was a good, close to 2-hour conversation, but I wanted you to see an example of what we were doing as a staff. And I'm not going to put Miss Barrow on the spot, but she and Miss Engel also developed a PowerPoint for further staff development. And, this is very much in the forefront of our thinking and our doing. We're not letting a closure stop us from moving forward.
Thank you
Okay, yeah, I just want to tell you that's kind of like all that I had as far as that piece was concerned.
Gotcha. Thanks, Ms. Pacino. Any questions from anyone on that? So I think, so would love, Mr. Schultz and Ms. Pacino, if you could talk a little bit about the end of the quarter and what we can expect in terms of assignments and report cards and conferences and all of that stuff coming up in a virtual environment.
Sure. As we talked about, Friday the 13th is going to be the last day of the full parking period, appropriately, and report cards are going to be distributed on November 30th. So before the 13th, if you could just talk with your child and make sure that there aren't any outstanding assignments, that would help everybody out a lot. But hopefully there won't be too many of those. Conferences are going to be held in early December this year. December 1st for preschool and pre-K, and for all other grades is going to be on December 2nd. And more information is going to be released on that soon. And
we also have interpreters available at our disposal that we use the language line as well. So we, just based on the information that we have at school, we have a good handle on who needs an interpreter, but that's something else that certainly the PTA can help us put out there, is that a language barrier should never be a barrier for communication with the school, because we have so many resources at our disposal. And I'm going to ask actually any of the teachers that are with us tonight, if you've used your talking points to communicate in another language to families.
Hi, this is Miss Singer. I guess I will speak since no one else will. I have it set up with the languages of some of the different students that I have in my class. So it has been helpful being able to communicate to the parents, so we're able to communicate quicker rather than in email, because that's more difficult. So it is a good support to have, and it does help.
And so you record it, or you type it in English, and it arrives at the destination in another language.
Yes. So once you set up the account, we go in and we put in the language of the that's spoken within the household, and then it does a translation for them.
I remember the days where we had to run around the school looking for somebody that spoke a different language, and now it's right at the fingertips of our teachers.
Yes, very, very helpful.
Thank you, Ms. Singer. And the other thing that I wanted to mention in terms of missing assignments, as a school, it is our belief, it is our expectation that students be given multiple opportunities to make up missed work. We're functioning in a very unusual, uncharted territory here, and there should never be a time where a parent feels it's too late. Now, after the marking period, certainly we can't accept work from a previous marking period and change a grade. But during the regular marking period, we will never turn a child's work down. We want to give as many opportunities as we possibly can for that work to be made up.
And that goes for missing assignments as well as assignments that your child or you feel that they could do better on. We have unlimited redos for anything that's graded. So there's always more opportunities to improve a grade.
Great, thank you. Thanks for
and one last thing, Marie. I know that I got numerous messages from the school system today. But one of them outlined how parents can log in and check grades or sign up for a BCPS one account if they haven't already done so.
I didn't get that one.
Gotcha. Thank you. So a couple of questions that did come into us, just via the questionnaire, I think, that we put up on the Facebook page. The first was just, I think, some general concern about a kindergarten student making adequate progress in the virtual format. So I know that's something that everyone's been working really hard on, but can you talk a little bit about how you all are approaching that as we get further into the fall?
Sure. So we're just trying to balance, of course, the amount of screen time that our kindergarten friends are doing every single day, which I know is also a concern of parents with their need to continue to progress at a grade level. We know that parents are already swamped, but if you ask your teacher if there are any activities that can be done in addition to the school day, I guarantee you that they'll have stuff that's specific to your child and their needs. And Lisa, do you want to talk a little bit about the SST and or IEP process, just in case, in this format we can't meet them?
Sure. So anytime either a parent or a teacher has a concern regarding student performance, they have a couple of options available to them. The first thing I always recommend is the first line of contact is the classroom teacher. We are encouraging our teachers to have frequent communication with parents, but if a parent is concerned that their child's not making progress, they can request a student support meeting, and I'll talk about the IEP track in a minute, because we always want to start, we're required by law to start with the least restrictive intervention, and that would be the student support team. And at those meetings, and Mr. Schultz runs student support team this year, at those meetings, the teacher will have collected some data in the area of concern, will have prepared a few notes, a teacher report, and we would meet. Now we're doing it virtually, but I have to tell you, they're so efficient, the virtual meetings. I'm really not, other than, just being face-to-face with people, the fact that we're virtual isn't stopping us in any way from moving forward and offering support as needed. What happens at the support team is that we would look at a child's progress, specific areas of concern. We would work together as a team to develop some strategies to put into place. And these are accommodation strategies. So think about these. We're not changing the curriculum. We're not changing the instruction that's being delivered. What we would be looking at are accommodations that would impact a child's accessibility to that instruction. So for example, in a brick and mortar school, it might be that child is seated in the front of the class. It might be that student has breaks during the period. It might be that student has some additional time to complete an assignment. It could mean that the information that's being taught is chunked in a way that might make more sense to the student, but the curriculum itself doesn't change. The accessibility to the instruction is what we would be looking at. And then after a period of time where we collect data, the student support team would meet again, and based on the child's response to these interventions, it might be that they're doing well, and we are just going to keep an eye on that child, or a student support plan might be developed where it's a bit more codified. It's on paper. It would follow the child into the next school year, but it's not the same thing as an IEP. The other option is if there's a significant problem, and today I had two teams, two brand new, well, not brand new students, but two initial IEP team meetings. We bypassed the student support route. The parents request formal testing. So when that happens by law, we must hold a team. What we found was for one child in particular, she was reading 2 full grade levels below where she was supposed to be. So that's kind of like when a red flag goes up for educators. A 2-year gap is not one that you can easily remedy. That requires intervention. Oftentimes what we call a tier 3 reading intervention. That could be Orton Gillingham or Wilson. You might have heard those names. But in any case, through the IEP process, we meet, we have our school psychologist present, any other, expert in the field. So we might have a reading specialist present. We're required to have a special educator, the general educator, the parent, and the designee in order for it to be considered a legal team. And then the first decision the IEP team would make would be, do we need more data? Do we need assessments? And I won't bore you with the whole process, although I personally find it very exciting, but I just want to let you know that those are 2 institutionalized paths that parents have available to them if they're concerned about a child's progress. In kindergarten, sometimes we like to wait a little bit. Sometimes we need to look at extenuating circumstances. If absence has played a part in it, sometimes the attendance of a student. I had a student who missed all of the spring and has not been available for certain interventions, and the child's still not progressing. So at that point we say, there might be some other factors at play. We need more data. So there are these 2 paths plus parent conference. And at any point, if a parent wants to speak with a reading specialist, it's typical that more of the problems for the gardeners are in reading than we necessarily see in math, although we do have a math resource here also. That's Alter. She has a background in special ed as well. So we have staff available to discuss concerns with parents. We have the SST process and the IEP process as well. And that's kind of what I have to share about some of the ways that we can provide support.
Great, thanks so much, Ms. Pacino. Any questions? Another question that we did get was asking about what the plans are for student like standardized testing in the spring. Not sure if you all have information on that at this time, but
no, we don't know yet. We're waiting to find out. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to wait for that to play out, depending on what happens COVID-wise. And if it does happen, it's going to serve the purpose of measuring a baseline to compare later growth to. So it's not going to be as intense and terrifying as it usually is. So if that puts anybody at ease, then just know that. But really, we don't expect it to happen, and if it does, that'll be the purpose.
Got it. Thank you. And then the last, maybe little question. Maybe it's just my question. Is tomorrow still a half day? Is it a lighter load tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow is a half day, but we don't think it's going to affect the students' day-to-day, because typically anything that happens synchronously would happen in the morning. So if there's a morning meeting or a check-in or something, that's still on. Teachers will have time to collaboratively plan and stuff in the second half of the day. But like I said, I don't think that teachers schedule things during the second half of Wednesdays. So it should be like a regular day for students.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions from anyone on the phone, or feel free to pop anything in the chat.
This is Olga. I just had a question. So I know some people kind of they think there's a lot of screen time going in. I know you guys have tried to figure out how to lessen the screen time. But I know there's some kids who have let's just say ADHD or something like that, and for them, doing a lot of screen time, or going from this small meeting to that meeting to this one, it's just a lot. And then of course the parents don't want their kids to be marked absent, so they're dealing with meltdowns at home. So how is there anything that the parents can do so that the kids don't have to log in 30 times throughout the day? Or, you know what I mean? I don't...
Yeah. So, just to start, we have guidance that comes from BCPS describing the number of hours that are required for us to offer students every single day. And they're pretty hefty numbers. For kindergarten, it's 2 hours minimum. For everybody else, it's 3.5 hours of synchronous. And then they say up to 3 hours of independent work and small group instruction. So we think that's a whole lot, and we're sort of trying to dial back the amount of independent work they're doing in addition to everything else. But the short answer is to talk to your teacher if you have concerns like that, because in terms of absences, if your child logs on and shows up to anything and does anything that day, then that child is there. There's no late, there's no leaving early. And that's all we check is, has the student shown up and made themselves known and attempted something. On Wednesdays, it's just has they logged on at all and checked out the little bit of work that's there for them. So we're doing everything we can to try to alleviate that. But you heard before there was the question about how is my student going to keep progressing virtually? So we know that the carousel keeps moving and students are going to be getting to the next grade soon. We need to be cognizant of that and make sure that we're offering them the most rigorous education that we possibly can. So we're really walking that tightrope between rigorous expectations and understanding that this does have a mental health impact. So I know I just haven't exactly answered your question, but those are all the things that we're trying to juggle at the same time. And if you talk to your teacher, I think that you guys could work something else together. And if there is an ADHD issue, maybe there could be an accommodation that we could come to an agreement about in SST. So I would say those are the options out for parents right now.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from anyone on the call? Going once, going twice.
I'm sorry, Maria. I didn't realize I was muted. I think somehow Mr. Schultz has the ability to mute me, and and I just wanted to say that if a child has an IEP or a 504 plan or even a student support plan, and they're amount of screen time has become an issue for them, and I apologize, my dogs are barking in the background. We're happy to meet and to take a look at changing or modifying the accommodations so they meet the needs of students in the virtual environment. Because mind you, most of these plans were written when we still had a school to go to. And that things have changed tremendously, and we're receiving a lot of guidance on how really different this instruction is, and the expectations that we have for children, especially our students with special needs, that we may need to take a look at how the IEPs or the plans are written. We're happy to do that.
Marie, can I say something as a parent?
Yeah, please.
We've all had bad virtual days. I'm not gonna lie to you, I have cried. It's okay. Sometimes you just need to take a step back. Just tell your teacher you're having a bad day. There's not one teacher in this school that will not work with you. Yep. I just think that everybody just needs to take a breath. Everybody is doing the best they can, and the teachers are very understanding.
Thank you for that, Stacy.
I joined like just a few minutes ago because I was at another meeting. So I'm sorry if this has been covered, but is there any thought moving forward to try and align the different grade schedules more? I find that my children distract each other greatly because their asynchronous times are all staggered, and then they all want to be playing while the other one's playing, and I can't do asynchronous learning with them back to back because then it fills my whole day to like push them to, not stop and play, and they kind of need that mental break anyway. So is that been addressed at all?
So unfortunately, it's all based around the special schedules and the need for other things that need to happen and can't happen at the same time. But the quick answer would be if there are certain times in the day that are particularly difficult, if you were to talk to your teacher, maybe you could work something out. Not that they would be able to redo the instruction, but maybe if one child could dip out a little bit earlier or something, maybe you could talk about that. I don't know about realigning different grade levels, though. We just barely fit everything in as it was, unfortunately.
And the other consideration is that throughout the day, we have our reading specialists pulling students for intervention groups. And those schedules are built around providing that we don't take students out of direct instruction. So that also is another facet to our planning. The creation of a schedule is it's very complicated, but that is something we can certainly take into consideration if we're in a position that we have to do this again at some point.
Thank you. I know it's a monumental task, so
a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I'm sorry we don't have a better answer for that.
Yeah.
Just keeping my kids in one space all day it's impossible. So
I think the other thing too is if they're doing asynchronous, and they need that break to go play or you know what I mean, they just need a brain break. I don't think it's an issue if they do that. They have most of Wednesday to catch up on work, and then they can work, later on in the evening if that's better for your schedule.
That's a good point.
Just other things to think about.
Great point.
Yeah, I have to say my child never does his asynchronous work when he is scheduled to do his asynchronous work.
That's fine. Yeah.
It does not work for him. So.
Hi, it's Miss Singer again. I also wanted to share that we allow the work to be done over the weekends as well. So it does not have to be done within the same day. I myself am a parent of 2 children in elementary school who are all over the place with everything, and their schedules do not line up whatsoever. However, we do what we can when we can, and if we have to take time on the weekend to do it, then we get it done. And that same goes for my parents in my own classroom. A lot of them, of course, we're all working parents, so it's better for them to have that time with their child during the evenings, and then by the weekends, they're fresh and ready to work on the activities that need to be done. And if they get done, they get done, or if not, they continue working on them. So that's another avenue to help you when trying to figure out and juggle your children.
Thanks, Ms. Singer. I don't think we've said this yet, but just want to say thank you, teachers and administration. We know this is a monumental task. It's a monumental task for everyone, and we just really appreciate all the work that you're doing to make this crazy school year successful for our kids.
Absolutely. Thanks for saying that. We know it's hard on you guys.
Thank you. And we miss your kids.
Oh.
I mean, I can say, I'm in the building several days, 2 or 3 days a week, and it's eerie. It's like a never-ending lockdown drill.
I would be happy to give you my child.
Second.
I think there's lots of us that would be happy to give you our child.
I raised 6, so I did my time.
Can I also say, I'm going to put in the tech support number in the chat. If you have technical problems, you need to call the tech support before we can replace your device. I just want to say that. There's also, if you go to support on the BCPS 1 page, you can also put in a ticket so you don't have to wait for the queue. It's just really important to do that before we can replace your device. That's for Miss Massey.
Oh, thank you, Stacy. And actually, that's faster if you put a ticket in, from Schoology, than it is to wait 2.5 hours for tech support.
Do you think they could post something or maybe to the group about how you can put the locks that are on the Chromebooks on personal computers as well? Because sometimes kids don't charge them and they're on my laptop, and then I find them doing all sorts of other things instead of class.
You mean the shortcuts?
No.
I think you mean the parental controls, right?
Yes.
That I don't know.
So there is a way to do it. I did it for my child's computer.
Really? Okay.
Kind of a pain in the butt. But I will see if I can dig up. There is a whole Google how do you do this thing. I will try to dig that up and share it with everyone.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to drop my email in the chat if you wouldn't mind sending me that too if you come across it, because I did not know you could do that in school.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. I am going to share my screen again and kick it over to Carrie to close us out.
Yes, thank you again, everybody, so much. I wanted to also share tonight resources for families. We still have curbside meal pickup that is at West Town on Mondays and Wednesdays. The yellow school bus out front is where you go from 11 until 12:30. BCPS resources for families, there's a link right there where it says Parent U if you want to go and check out any further resources. Baltimore County Support and BCPS is also listed with their websites there as well. And then I believe there's a thank you page coming. Yes. Thank you so much again, everybody. And also below is all the dates for upcoming events. The Baltimore County Education Meeting that we know is tonight. Wednesday is a half day, which again was mentioned should not affect anybody's schedule during the morning because check-ins are usually early. Friday marking period ends November 16th through 20th, American Education Week. Next restaurant night, November 19th at Farmhouse Greens. I believe you do need to show. Do you need to show a flyer, Marie?
You need to show a flyer or indicate when you order online that there's a place in the notes where you can just write Westtown when you order online. But the really great thing about that is it's at both the Farmhouse Greens and the Burger and Sausage Company, so you can go healthy or not.
All right. Thank you. November 20th, our first Funding Friday. Olga, do you want to remind everybody what the Funding Friday is?
Yeah, Funding Friday it's next Friday, and it's write a letter of thank you to any of the faculty at Westtown. And if you want, you can donate to the PTA as well on Funding Friday. The donation pages are on our website.
Thank you. And then November 24th is a Board of Education meeting at 6:30. Thanksgiving break will be the 26th through 27th. Report cards distributed on the 30th. Conference days on December 1st and 2nd. And then December 8th will be our next PTA meeting at 7 p.m. And I hope that everybody can join us. Thank you so much to everybody tonight again for joining us. And we'll see you soon.